Hello, and welcome to yet another episode of Learning Excel through a live project. In our previous episode, we learned about how to use the grouping as well as how to implement the subtotal in your transaction detail, that is, in the expense tracker. As the day progress, you may be entering the data for the expenses you made every day, and you want to print all those reports, and either you want to keep it as file or you want to share it with any of your family members. So you can easily print it, but there are a lot many features available in Excel print which we may have to learn. So let us jump directly to the course and see what are all the features Excel has provided in printing your Excel sheet. Welcome. Let us open our expense tracker application and go to the expense tracker sheet where we have stopped yesterday. In our previous episode, we have implemented the subtotal and we have done it for every month. So now, if I have to print this particular Excel sheet, so what I will do, I'll simply go to the file and go to print. Now, if you notice, there are few problems I face. One, I have only up to the payment type the data is displayed. Beyond that, it is not coming. So if you look at our page numbers, it has more than 6 pages. If you go navigate through the page number, we notice that it is going to the second page, it's going to the third page, and if I go to the fourth page, for the first set of data, the remaining columns like associated bank, notes, and amount are coming as a separate page. So this is not going to work for us because we want everything to be displayed in a single page. Now, I want to say one thing, if you don't have a printer, you don't worry. So you can just simply go to your Microsoft Print PDF and you can do all this exercise without a need for connecting to your printer. Now let us see one by one. So we have few options available in the print section itself to do that. But let us go another way of doing everything before we even coming to the print. And one more thing I want to tell you is you are able to see the grid lines now. So when you're printing it, if you have the grid lines, it will be looking much better. Let's assume I'm going to the entire table, selecting everything, and I say that home and no border. Now I don't have a border. If I go to the print, now it will not come with any border. So assume you are having an Excel sheet in which you don't want to display the border and you want to display the border only when you are printing. How can you do that? Let's see one by one. Before you even think about printing this particular Excel sheet, you may be interested in knowing how my page will be printed. So let us see how we can see that. So I'm in the home page and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to the view menu. So in the view menu, you can see your workbook views. In that, if you see there is a view called normal view, then there is a page break view, and there is one more thing called page layout also. Let us see how the page is going to be printed by using the page break view. So if you look at this page break view, you can see a small blue dotted lines in between. So that means, and you can see which page number it will be printed to. So if you scroll down, it is page number 1 and row number 41, it is going to break the page and then goes to page number 2 and the last line is going to be in the third page. And similarly, in the column wise also, not everything is going to be fitted in one page, but it is going to be split into two pages. So I can see it in another way also. I can go for a page layout view where it will show how it will be displayed. Let me go to the page break view. Now, I don't want this one single sheet for all the columns. I want it to be split into two pages. So, but what I want is I want everything to be printed in one sheet. So how can I do that? Either you can remove the margin if only one column is going to the right side or left side, or you can adjust yourself with the page layout. Let me go to the page layout, and now if I look at the orientation, it is in portrait mode, and if I'm changing this page layout to landscape mode, there are chances that this page, all the columns may be printed in one single page. So let me change it to page layout. Then also it is not printing. So how can I do that? So I can drag this page break to the column and move it to the end. Now if I actually look at, all the columns are going to be printed in a single page. Now, if I'm going to the file and I'm going to the print and see the print preview, for me only three pages are coming and all the columns are coming in a single page. Let me go back. Now, if I'm going back, print preview again, I see there are margin on the left side and the margin on the right side. It is a standard, it is always advisable to keep it this way. But if you want to reduce the margin, you can go to the margin here and you can go for a narrower margin. Now, if I go and see the print preview, my margin has reduced considerably on the left hand side. On the right hand side, there are more margin. Why? Because the data is coming only up to that level. Let me go back. I don't need to adjust the margin because my page is coming in the same level. I'm going to the normal mode. So similarly, you can adjust the page size also. Now it is by default, it is coming as a letter as a page size. For me, I will be printing in the A4 sheet, so I can change it to A4. Now if I go to the print preview, yeah, it is coming perfectly. Now I don't want this Excel sheet to appear with the page break preview. I want to see as a normal Excel sheet. I can simply press the normal view so that my page break will disappear. Even now, you can see a dark, black dotted line which represents you how your page will be printed later. So you can see that break at the row level as well as the break at the column level. Now, let me take another example. I'm taking the expense head. Okay. In the expense head, I have a large set of column, and even if whatever way I want to print, I'm going to the page break view. In whatever way I am printing, I can go to the page layout and change it to landscape. Then also, I cannot print more than the monthly budget, and there are other columns which are going to appear as a separate page. But my requirement is that I don't want to print all the January, February, March columns. But what all I want is like I want to print only up to January. For example, I assume that I'm in the month of January, I'm just going to print up to January. How can I restrict my printing to only those columns which I require? To help that, there is a feature called print area which you can use. Let me just go to the normal view and go to the page layout, and then I'm choosing which are all the columns I want to display in my print. I'm selecting all those things, and then I'm pressing the set print area and set the print area. Now if I go to the print, and you will see it is coming to two sheets, but only up to January it will be printed. The remaining thing it will not print it. As usual, let us go back and go to the view, go to the page break view. Now I'm coming to the page break preview, and I'm trying to set to make it as a single page. So it is not possible because it cannot accommodate. So what I can do, I can reduce the column here. I can reduce the column here. Now if you see, it prints in one page as far as the column is concerned. Now whether the page is coming in one page. Yeah, everything is coming in one page. And now if I go to the print, I see all my data are coming in a single page. Let us go back to our expense tracker sheet to see yet another feature. Now, if you look at my expense tracker, I don't have my grid borders. So if I'm printing it now, I'm going to the file and say print and see the print preview. In the printout also, I'm not going to see any grid lines for the entire worksheet. What if I want to display the grid lines only in my printouts and not in my Excel workbook? So is there a way? Yes, there is a way. I can go back to the page layout and see, if you look at the sheet options, there is an option called grid lines, which you want to see in the view or you want to see in the print also. I say I want to see in the print also. Now if I go to the print preview and print, now you can see the grid lines. The other option you have is to make your cell borders, make it as all borders. And even if you are going to print without selecting this particular option and go to your print, so the grid lines will appear. So if you notice, I have made the cell borders only from expense head. So my serial number, date, and year month are coming without a border. If we go back and select the print option in the grid lines in the cell sheet options, now if I go and print again, it will appear here also. But you need to notice the difference. If I have made the cell borders as exclusive, so it will be coming with a thicker border. But if I am not making it, it will come in a lighter border. So it is always advisable, either you create the border for everything, for all the columns, or you keep as no border and only when you are printing you enable that option. Now let us see how you can implement the page break. In our previous episode, when we were going through the subtotal, we have seen an option called page break, which we decided that we will be seeing it later. Let us first look at it. Now, if I go to the data and select outline and go to subtotal, you have one option here called page break between groups. So for that, let me remove everything so that we can start afresh. I'm going to implement a subtotal based on year, month, and for the sum of amount. And when I say page break between groups, when I say OK, now if I go to the view and say I want to see the page break view, if you notice, after every subtotal, you are having a page break. Now, if I go to the print preview and you see there are 6 pages, and if you look at every page, after every month is changing, it is printing in a new page. So this is one option. But what if you want to implement the page break according to your choice? Let us not worry about the subtotal and other thing. Let us remove that. I'm going to the data again. I'm going to the outline. I'm going to the subtotal and I'm removing everything. Now, what I want is I want a page break according to my choice. Assume I want a page break after 7th. How can I do that? I can go to the page layout and say I want a page break here. Insert a page break. And I want it after 4th. I'm going for a page break and insert a page break. Now if I go to the view and go for page break view, you see after 7th there is a page break and after 4th there is a page break. You can verify it by going to the print preview, and if you see that first page is there up to 7th, and second page is there up to 4th of February, and remaining thing it automatically inserts a page break. Now that we have seen most of our print features, so let us see some advanced features. I want to print this document with the proper header. How can I do that? And I want a footer too. How can I do that? So for that, you can define the header and footer. Let us see how we can do it. I can go to the page layout and say print titles. If you open that, a page setup sub menu will open in which you have options to define many of the things. Whatever we have seen earlier, you can define it through this menu also. And one of the option is header and footer. How can we use the header and footer? Either you can go for the standard templates which are available in Excel, or you can define a custom header and custom footer. First, let us see what are all the standard features available with that with Excel. So I can go for the header. I can go for either print the page number or page number with total number of pages. You have many options. This is the name of the sheet. Then I can print something like confidential on current date with the page number. Many things you can do. Let us see if I am doing it confidential, for example, and say OK. And now if I go to the print preview, it will show whatever header we have defined for every page which is going to be printed. Okay. Now, these are all easy things. So, what if I want to implement a custom header? Let me go to the print tables again. Go to this one. Let me remove it. I say none. If I say none, your page header will be removed. I go to the custom header. So you have three sections with which you can print the header. The same thing is applicable for the footer also. In the left hand side, let me assume I want to implement the current date. I implemented the current date. You have menus here. Like either you can create a text of your own, or you can insert the page number, total number of pages, current date and time, and the path of the current file, or the file name, sheet name, or you can insert your own picture, what you like, or you can format the picture. So for now, let me see. I'm on the left hand side, I'm inserting the current date. Here, I'm writing it my expense tracker. On the right hand side, I'm going to type what is the page number and the number of pages. So I say number page. I can type off. I can say number of pages. Okay. Now, if you look at the print preview, you can see that print preview from there itself. It comes with the date, the current date, plus the heading whatever I have defined, and the number of pages we have done. Now I want to customize this header to look more beautiful. So I can do that. I can go back here, go to the header and footer, and go to custom header and select this text, and I'm going to make it as bold. I will increase the font and change the color to some other color I like. Now, if I go to the print preview is available here itself. If you see that, it comes with a different font with a different color. With this, you can customize whatever way you want. Okay. Now, let's see the next option what we can do. Now, when you say print preview, I have in the first page, I'm seeing my row headers. It is coming with serial number, date, year, month, etc. But when I go to the next page, I don't have the header. So it is appropriate if I'm seeing the row header in every page. So how can I implement a feature by which I'm repeating this row header in every page I'm printing? Let me go back, go to the page layout and go to the page setup. You can either open it either through the caret menu over here, or you can open through any of these print tiles, anything. I'm going to the sheets, and if you look at it has one feature called rows to repeat at top. So I can go here and select this row. So it will come with $2, $2. So it means like every page which I'm printing, if I go here, go to the print preview, if I go to next page, so in every page, the row header will be repeated. So this is one good feature which we may have to use when you are printing the Excel sheet and sending it to somebody. Now, either I can print it as in paper, or I can export it to Excel by selecting Microsoft Print to PDF as my printer. And if I print it, it can save here. Let me just save it in desktop and give my name as expense tracker and save. Let me go to the desktop and open it again. I have this file here. If I open it, my file is generated as a PDF with all the headers and other things. The same way you can implement your footer also. There is no difference between how we configure the header and footer. You can go to the header and you can select the footer. You can select the footer and select, maybe I will just give the name of my file. And if I go to the print preview, you will see my file name as your footer. You can configure as whatever way you like. Now, if you are having the printer, all the features whatever we have selected can be done in the printer configuration also. But it is always better to do it on the Excel itself, so that you are making it as a standard even if you are printing in any of the printer. I believe that today's episode was very useful for you. And in tomorrow's episode, we'll be learning more about how to protect your Excel sheet with a password. And in addition to that, you will also be learning about how to protect a section of the Excel sheet so that others cannot edit it. So it will be interesting, right? So I'm looking forward to a very useful session tomorrow. And once again, let me seek your support by subscribing and liking and sharing the video among your friends. And please feel free to provide your comments, which will be answered by me personally. Thank you. See you tomorrow. Bye bye.